Welcome. Today we're heading into Wisconsin, specifically south central Wisconsin.
Right, into an area just west of Route 12, kind of on the edge of the Baraboo Range.
It's a distinct part of the state, the driftless area, unglaciated land. We're exploring Natural Bridge State Park.
Yeah, we've gathered, the guides, maps, articles, all the source material to really understand this place.
And we're doing this for you, the listener. We want to unpack what the sources tell us about the geology, the ancient human history, and just what it's like to visit today.
So let's start with the main feature, the Natural Bridge. It's actually Wisconsin's biggest natural arch.
And it's quite impressive, isn't it? When you stand there, the opening is, what, 25 feet high?
25 feet high and about 35 feet wide. And the top surface of the arch itself is maybe 35 feet off the ground.
So what's it made of? How did it form?
It's sandstone, but it's weathered out of something much, much older, quartzite.
Quartzite.
Yeah, basically super hardened sand deposited something like 1.6 billion years ago.
Wow, 1.6 billion, that's quite old.
It really is. And the arch itself, shaped slowly over time. Wind, rain, meltwater, the usual suspects. But the key thing here is where it is.
You mean surviving the Ice Age?
Exactly. It's in the driftless area. So when glaciers were grinding down other parts of Wisconsin, this whole region was bypassed. The ice flowed around it.
Huh. So no drift? The stuff glaciers leave behind?
Pretty much. That's why the landscape looks different, more rugged, and why the sandstone arch is still standing.
It wasn't scraped away.
Right. You often think of arches out west, Utah, Arizona. Finding one like this here, tucked away in the woods. It's a glimpse of what Wisconsin looked like before the ice.
And right underneath this amazing arch, there's the Radatz Rock Shelter.
Yeah, and it's not just a small overhang. It's quite large, 60 feet wide, goes back maybe 30 feet deep.
And its significance is huge, right?
Immense. The sources point to it as the oldest known site of human habitation, continuous or periodic anyway, in the whole upper Midwest.
There was a major dig there, wasn't there, back in the 50s?
Oh. Yes, 1957. Led by Warren Whittree, an archaeologist with the Wisconsin Historical Society.
What did they actually find?
Well, really crucial stuff. They found charred wood from old fire pits, and radiocarbon dating put that wood between 9,000 and 8,000 BCE.
So 10,000, 11,000 years ago, right after the glaciers retreated.
Exactly. End of the Ice Age. They also found tools like antler scrapers that were maybe 6,000 or 7,000 years old. Shows people kept coming back.
And animal remains, too. Tells us about their diet.
Absolutely. Remains from 50 different kinds of vertebrates plus 15 types of mollusks. It paints a picture of the environment and what they were hunting and gathering. Big game, small animals, shellfish.
So was it used year-round from the start?
The evidence suggests probably not. More like periodically at first, maybe a base camp for hunting trips or coming seasonally for certain resources.
Right.
But over a long, long time, it seems the use intensified, possibly shifting towards more year-round living later on.
Incredible to imagine people sheltering in that exact spot for millennia. Is it protected now?
Oh, yes. The rock shelter is on the National Register of Historic Places, definitely recognized for its importance.
And the bridge itself, people knew about it long before it became a park, right?
Right.
Local attraction.
Yeah, sources say it was a tourist spot way back in the 1870s. The state park designation came much later.
When is the park officially established? The sources seem to say 72 or 73.
That's right, 1972 or 1973, covering about 530 acres.
And then came extra protection.
Yes. Shortly after, in 73 or 74, they designated a core 60-acre area right around the arch and rock shelter as a state natural area. That adds another layer of preservation focus.
Which means rules for visitors. Like, you definitely can't climb on the arch.
No, absolutely not. Climbing on the arch or entering the rock shelter is prohibited. It's vital for protecting the geology and the archaeology. These are fragile resources.
Makes sense. So, beyond the arch and shelter, what's the rest of the 530 acres like?
It's mostly hardwood forest, oak woods mainly. Very typical for southern Wisconsin.
And hilly, because of the driftless area.
Definitely rolling, hilly terrain. But it's not all just woods.
Oh, what else?
There are these small prairie patches on some of the ridge tops, little remnants with native grasses, even prickly pear cactus, surprisingly.
Cactus in Wisconsin?
Yeah. And also some open fields, probably old farmland that's going back to nature.
Any interesting plants near the rock outcrop itself? You sometimes find unique things in those spots.
You do. The shade and moisture near the base support some cool ferns. There's walking fern. It roots from its tips, so it sort of walks across the rock. And slender lip fern, purple cliff brake, and a rare goldenrod, Solidago sciaphila, that loves those shady rock faces.
What about wildlife? Good birding spot.
Seems like it. The sources mention perky vultures. You might see or hear pileated woodpeckers, those big ones. Lots of songbirds, of course, and maybe even bald eagles in the wider area.
Okay, practicalities. If you want to go, where exactly is it again?
It's a bit tucked away, east of Leland, on County Road C, southwest of Baraboo, maybe 40 miles or so north of Madison.
And hours. Staffing. I noticed some conflicting info in the sources.
Yeah, that can happen with unstaffed parks over time. It seems to be day use only. One source says 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. year-round. Another mentions more like April to October, daylight hours. Best bet is probably aim for daylight hours and definitely unstaffed.
Right. And facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Restrooms, picnic tables.
Yeah.
That seemed unclear too.
That's another area with conflicting info, likely due to changes. Older sources might mention some things, but a more recent note from 2019 specifically said picnic tables, water, and restrooms are not available.
Okay.
And that the restrooms will permanently close then, so you should really plan on having no facilities there. Pack in, pack out.
Good to know. And absolutely no camping.
No camping allowed, correct. You do need a state park vehicle admission sticker, though. There's a self-registration stand where you can buy one.
Sounds like the vibe is pretty quiet, isolated.
That's definitely the impression. A place to just connect with nature, probably without seeing many other people.
Okay, let's talk trails. How much hiking is there?
Total trail system is around 3.5, maybe closer to 4 miles.
And the main trail to the arch.
That's the Indian Moccasin Nature Trail. It's a loop about a mile long north of the highway. Takes you right up to the arch and shelter.
And it has signs about plants.
Yeah, interpretive signs about the traditional medicinal uses of native plants you see along the trail. Kind of interesting.
Is there a longer trail option?
Yes, the Whitetail Hiking Trail. That one crosses south of Highway C. It's about 2 miles, goes through woods and prairie, usually quieter, less traveled than the main loop.
Can you go in winter? Skiing or snowshoeing?
You can. Cross-country skiing is allowed, but don't expect groomed trails. Winter hiking and snowshoeing are fine anywhere in the park.
Now, the sources also mention hunting and trapping.
Right. It is allowed in the park, but with pretty specific rules. Only in designated open areas and only during the official state seasons.
What are those seasons generally?
Well, there's a fall-winter period, usually mid-November to mid-December for gun and archery, with archery often extending into January. And then a spring season, April into early May, for gun and archery hunting, plus some limited trapping.
Are there definite no hunting zones?
Absolutely. Critically, no hunting or trapping within 100 yards of the natural web itself. Same goes for within 100 yards of trails or any picnic spots. Trapping has even more limits in those closed areas.
And other rules. Things you just can't do.
Yeah, basic safety stuff mostly. Can't hunt near the middle of a road, can't shoot across a paved park road, can't fire a gun near buildings on land you don't own without permission.
Okay.
And for trapping, specific rules about trap types like dry land sets need to be enclosed, trigger traps, water sets have to be fully submerged.
Do hunters get different access hours?
Slightly different, yeah. They can usually enter the park an hour before legal hunting starts for the day, or an hour before sunrise if there aren't specific DNR hours set.
Thinking about the area around the park, it's close to Devil's Lake, isn't it?
Relatively close, yeah. Devil's Lake is huge and very popular, maybe a 30-minute drive away. Natural Bridge is definitely the quieter neighbor.
And getting to Natural Bridge sounds like part of the experience itself.
It does. The sources describe the roads as windy, the landscape as very rural. It adds to that feeling of seclusion when you finally arrive.
Any tips for scenic drives nearby?
Northeast of the park, there are several designated rustic roads. Names like Rough Road, Orchard Drive, Slotty Road. They wind through the hills.
One stood out.
Shara Road was mentioned specifically. Runs along a high ridge, supposed to have big old trees and really fantastic views. Worth checking out if you're in the area.
So when you pull all this together from the sources, Natural Bridge State Park is this real blend, isn't it?
It really is. You've got this incredible geological feature, the arch, that somehow missed the glaciers. Then you have this deep, deep human history right underneath it, going back literally to the end of the Ice Age.
Yeah, that rock shelter is amazing.
And surrounding it all is this quiet, diverse, natural setting. The woods, the prairies, the unique plants, all packed into a fairly small park.
It's kind of remarkable, especially for an unstaffed park. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you wonder how many other places, maybe places near you that seem ordinary, hold these incredible layers of geological time or human history just waiting quietly in the landscape. What stories are out there if you just look a little closer?